Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ful-on, your Fulham-centric football podcast. Joining me this week is the whole team. Mozza, how you doing, buddy?
This evening, I'm relieved. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Glad you joined us. Drew, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well.
Good. And AJ, how you doing, buddy?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
We are here to talk about this weekend's remarkable draw at Anfield. It's a result we should be really proud of, one that none of us saw coming, which is absolutely fantastic. We've sort of put the rights to the wrongs of the points that we dropped against Wolves over the last couple of weeks. So, it's good. The performance was decent. So let's get into it and let's talk about it. Let's talk about this starting lineup again. Drew, I'm coming to you, mate, because I'm getting bored of this, right? I don't know if you have Marco's phone number or
Or he has mine.
What you're on. Yeah, can you please explain to us how you managed to guess the changes and the lineup again, and how did you feel about the starting lineup on Saturday?
I wish I could say it was because I was special and I had some brilliant insight. But for those who've watched the pod, they've probably already worked out I am special and I do have a brilliant insight. Being brutally honest, I mean, we've all watched Marco. He's got his own style of play. As we've said, he likes consistency. To be fair, the changes at the back, we talked about them. Ash, you talked about the suspensions last week. I mean, AJ called the defence. I mean, it picked itself. The real point that I made when we were talking about the lineups was the ESR Pereira choice. Our regular subscribers will know that we are huge fans of Pereira because we think he's indispensable. Probably not as much as he does, but as some Fulham fans have pointed out, he plays better as a 10, not an 8. Now, since the introduction of Berge, especially in the 8 role, he's been a revelation in my mind. And going back to the Man City game, which we pushed them all the way to the edge, and crucial to that display was Pereira playing in his preferred role. And I just fancied, because ESR is not as strong without the ball as Pereira, I fancied Marco to be pragmatic and put AP in. And I'm glad he did. I am glad he did. As for the wings, like I said, I thought Traore may start. And it would have been interesting, bearing in mind especially how much Robinson was struggling. But Robinson couldn't cope with Wilson anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I was quite pleased with the lineup. I mean, the players that were in there deserve to be there. I thought the Pereira choice was the right choice, irrespective of my personal feelings towards him following his disrespectful outburst that we covered a few episodes ago. And he was always going to start with Raul, simply because in that sort of atmosphere, playing those sort of players, we needed someone with Raul's technical ability and especially his know-how, which Muniz, who I think is much more athletic and plays with huge enthusiasm, just simply doesn't have right now. So, yeah, I was about as pleased as I could be with the starting lineup.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with that. I was quite pleased to see Harry Wilson come in. I think he's deserved a start, especially from away from home. When we're probably likely to play a bit more on the counter, which we probably did a bit, especially at the start of the game on Saturday. AJ, looking at the start of that game on Saturday, we knew that we'd have to go in strong because Anfield is really lively, especially at the start of games. They get nice and loud. We like to push on from the start. We needed a decent start in the game. What did you make of the first sort of period of the game? What did you think of how we came out and nullified, I think, Anfield a little bit?
Yeah, we were quite remarkable, to be honest. It was nice to see, at least for the first 15, 20 minutes or so, us not giving Liverpool the ridiculous amount of respect that we used to do, and actually attacking them for a change. We were very quick, very direct. We were strong on and off the ball, and ultimately it resulted in a very good goal, which I noticed that throughout the game, we committed a lot more men into the box to the point that Wilson was doing what Wilson does and attacking the box, and Andreas Pereira throughout the entirety of the game, actually somewhat to our detriment, which we'll talk about later, but still got him in the position to score. We were playing in almost a 4-4-2 shape with Pereira playing alongside Raul up top. So it was just really impressive that we took the game to Liverpool, especially considering the form they're in.
Yeah, I think it's very fair to say that we were all really hesitant going into the game about how we would face up against this Liverpool team that have been, really, really good at attacking. I thought we held our own defensively on Saturday. I know we conceded 2 goals, and again, we'll get into that when we talk about the second half in a bit. But let's talk about our goal, our opening goal for a second. Some beautiful play yet again. Alex Iwobi and Antonee Robinson's sort of understanding of where each other are going to be in a game is really, really starting to kick off and go in. And for someone who, like myself, has been saying for a year and a bit now that Antonee Robinson is an outstanding left back, but I wish he could cross. Beautiful ball he puts into the box on Saturday. I think we're really starting to see him not just crossing the ball. He's trying to find areas where he knows someone should be, and it really is really helpful when you have players do what Andreas Pereira did on Saturday, as you said rightly, and there's Harry Wilson do, and that's actually trying to back up the striker a bit, because we saw the rewards of that on Saturday with the opening goal. Because a couple of weeks ago it only would have been Raul Jimenez in that box and nobody else to get that ball going over. Andreas Pereira takes it extremely well, considering he's on the stretch, and finishes well. So a lot of respect for him for that. He still isn't quite forgiven for me for the last couple of weeks' behaviour, but if he keeps putting performances in like that, it will be forgotten easily, won't it? And we all are fickle football fans like that. Let's look at the second major incident that happened in the opening 20 minutes, which is the Liverpool red card. It's a blatant red card for me. There's been some sort of, I don't know if you want to call it Big Six bias, if you want to call it absolute tosh being spoken by ex-referees all over the place saying that, they don't think it was a red card. Gary Lineker, I'm assuming, had his nose in a packet of crisps rather than actually watching the highlights from what he was talking about on Match of the Day on Saturday. How you cannot think that's a last man challenge is beyond me. Like it's absolutely beyond me. And the fact that they then think that because Raul Jimenez then gets a shot off because of it means it's not stopping a goal scoring opportunity is also beyond me. It's one of the clearest red cards we'll see. The only contentious thing for me was the fact that it took them 5 minutes to decide on VAR, because they were then looking back at 4 or 5 different other incidents because they were scared that they might have to send off a Big Six player. Is any of you got anything to argue the case for the red card, or do we all just agree that it's a blatant red card and let's just move on?
I think it was definitely a red card, and I think Liverpool should be docked 10 points for acting like little bitches following the game, because all we got was complete whining. I mean, I can still hear the whining now on the wind from Anfield. It's like, if that, just flip it around a minute. Yeah, just flip it around a minute. Okay, Gakpo's going through on goal and gets brought down in that situation, or any of their forwards. What are they all screaming? Red, 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 red. It was a red card. Simple as that. It was a red card. I've got no problem with it.
Hey, calm down. I don't know if anyone got that reference.
I think we all got that reference.
I think we all got that reference, except the under-20s, mate.
Can anyone just build up my confidence and laugh next time? I should have done the accent.
We'll do the canned laughter for you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. I wanted to ask, because it seemed a bit contentious, didn't it, where VAR were checking if it was offside. But regardless, if it was onside or offside, I think we might have discussed this as a little peek behind the curtain on our WhatsApp group. Regardless, the challenge was on the last man. So, yeah, if VAR had ruled it as offside, would it have been right to give a red card? I don't really know the rules, but as far as I was concerned, call me biased, but yeah, I was like, last man, he's off.
If it was offside, the red card would have been rescinded because anything after the offside, the play wouldn't have counted. So we wouldn't have been in a position to award the goal, to be awarded the free kick.
I just wondered about the intent though, because I don't think it was like a challenge where you meant to hurt him. But
yeah,
here's a point.
If it was violence conduct, it'd be different.
Yeah. Here's where we can shut up a few Liverpool fans up who've been screenshotting one moment into the game on Twitter and moaning why Issa Diop wasn't red carded in the second minute. Issa Diop got yellow carded for violent conduct after a foul he committed that he shouldn't have had to make because there was an offside beforehand, but he was still yellow carded because it was put down as violent conduct. The Antonee Robinson red card, it wasn't violent conduct, it was a last man challenge, which automatically wouldn't have counted because if there was an offside in the build-up phase. So that's the only difference there. If Robinson was sent off for violent conduct, it wouldn't have mattered if there was an offside or not. But he wasn't sent off for violent conduct. He was sent off for last man. So, there's a difference.
The only thing I have to say about what the referee's decision during that incident was that he shouldn't have played advantage. That's where this whole screaming and crying from the Liverpool fans come from, because an advantage was played, Raul Jimenez got a shot off, and then it was pulled back when this shot was deemed not a significant enough advantage in play because there was someone to block the shot by the time it got to Raul and by the time that he took the shot on. Because it was a last man challenge, it shouldn't have played on for an advantage unless it was Harry Wilson that was in an advantage position. That was the mistake from the referee, and that's why there's so much debate on it. But at the end of the day, the actual challenge is a red card offence because it's a last man tackle. It was onside and it got what it wanted. The referee was right to pull it back. VAR did the right thing in checking the offside because it was tight, but at the end of the day, the advantage, in my opinion, shouldn't have been played unless it was Wilson through on goal.
I don't disagree with you, to be honest with you. I don't disagree with you at all, because that's where there has been some sort of argument about, advantage and stuff like that. So that's fair. Let's move on. Let's talk about the rest of the first half. Mozza, going in at half time, 1-0 up at Anfield. How happy were you? How confident were you going into the second half? How did you feel about that first half performance from the lads?
I was extremely happy, and I'll be amazed if there was any other Fulham fan that thought it wouldn't all go, wrong for us with an early goal. Yes, thank you, Drew, because I nearly said a word that some people might have deemed a bit offensive. Yeah, I was happy with our performance, but I could sense that we were going to concede. That was how I felt. I was just very nervous about it. I can't remember what else you asked me. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was, Mozza, looking at the rest of the first half, how proud were you of the performance that the lads are putting? Considering the fact that we all sat here last week and didn't give us a chance in hell getting anything from the game. How proud of you were you with the actual performance that the lads are putting in that first half?
Yeah, very proud of. Well, I thought we were doing well, and I didn't really have any qualms or complaints. I don't really have much more to say, to be honest. But you're 1-0 up against the winners or the likely winners of the Premier League, and you're away, especially after the game we had there last season, the 4-3 result. That was in my head as well. I was confident, but still nervous. I think that's how I feel every Fulham game, though, anyway, regardless.
Yeah. Obviously, Drew, Mozza's mentioned the fact that he was sent us conceding, which we did do yet again super quickly after the half time. The defending for the goals, I feel, is a bit poor. And it's just one of those goals that we seem to concede a lot where I don't know if people have fallen asleep or it's just, a bit of unlucky. Tete sort of falls over as the ball goes in and Gakpo's there to head it in. It's kind of frustrating to concede goals like that. As well as that being quite annoying. I was actually quite happy with the reaction that we gave after getting the goal. We didn't capitulate like we could do, and we have done at Anfield in the past. What are your feelings around, the A, conceding the goal, and B, the reaction to it by the players afterwards?
The ball travelled a really long way. It travelled a really long way, and that's what was disappointing about it. And then Leno gets beat on his near post. I'm not quite sure what happened at the back stick. It was disappointing, and yeah, I mean, defensively, it's not great. It's not great, but the reaction, I think we have to take positives out of the game, and I think we've got to give the team a lot of credit, because we talked extensively about some of our reactions to things that have happened to us this season. I mean, one of the biggest disappointments we had was the Villa game. We talked about that extensively when we missed that penalty and we went into a tailspin for, what was it, Ash, about 20, 25 minutes or something? We just all at sea. I don't think any Fulham fan would have anticipated us going to Anfield, getting pegged back and then taking the lead again. I appreciate they've got 10 men, but look at the 10 men they had. I mean, they're a fantastic football team. They genuinely are. They're so fit and they work so hard and they apply so much pressure. And I was really, really pleased that we, A, took the lead, but B, we didn't just capitulate, like you say. I mean, we still tried to play football. My only regret is that we weren't bolder and we didn't attack them more. But I think that has to be indicative of the quality of the opposition, because they are exceptional. They really are. But full credit. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to go to Anfield, concede a goal, and then go ahead again. You know, because everyone, I mean, we were all predicting that they were going to score at least 3. Mm-hmm. They nearly did it. But no, I mean, full credit to that team. Full credit to that team. If you look at the recent run of fixtures we've had, you know, Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, Brighton, and from those 12, what was that, 12 points, we've taken 5.
6,
sorry. So, I mean, anyone would have taken that, realistically.
Absolutely.
Anyone would have taken that. And I think it would be trite to not be anything but pleased, especially with the attitude of the players and their bravery, because they had to be brave. They really had to be brave. So yeah, I was very pleased, and it might be that, and this has to, I think this has got to be credit to Marco, and I'm sure we'll talk about this on other shows, that he might be helping the players to overcome their inferiority complex. I mean, because you looked at how we played at Spurs. I mean, we've talked about that. No one on this show was worried that we were going to lose that game, even when we went down to 10 men. You know, we were still prepared to trade with them. And if they come, when Spurs come back to the Cottage, I'm not sitting there thinking we're going to get blown away. You know, Arsenal, last 3 games, 9 points available. They've taken 2 from us. Yeah. So, I mean, full credit to them. I mean, this doesn't detract from the fact that we're going to get smashed against Southampton on Saturday, because that's what we do. but the point I'm making is we seem to be overcoming our inferiority complex, and I think a lot of that's got to do with Silva. It has to be.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I think that the reactions were superb, and let's talk about that second goal for a second. AJ, I'm coming to you to talk about the goal today, because you know, I know you were impressed with them. The second goal, the work rate from Antonee Robinson is just absolutely superb. The ball
he is roadrunner.
Yeah, the ball he puts through is beautiful. If you're a striker, they're the sort of ones you want, but you know you just got to get any touch and you can score. Muniz takes it really, really well, and I'm so happy we've seen Muniz score a goal. We've been begging for weeks. He just needs one off his backside or something, and we might, you know, see the return of, you know, Muniz being Muniz, and hopefully we do after that. But Antonee Robinson, to give him his props, just how impressive is he? How impressive was that goal?
Yeah,
I love him. Like, you gotta love him.
On paper, after that goal from Muniz, the Southampton game is the perfect game for him to start. Bottom of the league, conceding tons of goals, an opportunity for him to bag a hatful. And as you said, Drew, the likelihood is that they'll nick at least a point off of us, because we've got a Robin Hood complex. We like to take off the rich and give to the poor. In points wise, not Premier League funds wise. That's a whole different conversation. In regards to the goal, actually feel it came a little bit against the run of play, which, considering they had 10 men, was a little disappointing. It leads back to what I was saying earlier about Andreas Pereira's positioning. What we failed to do as a team, in my opinion, is after they went down to 10 men, they readjusted their tactics 3 or 4 times until they found a way to be comfortable on the ball with 10 men. We stayed in the same structure as we did at the start of the game, with Andreas almost opting as a shadow striker with Raul up front in an almost 4-4-2, which meant we were outrunning midfield quite a lot of the second half, where realistically, Andreas drops in. He's got the ability and the composure to actually hold the ball against 10 men a lot better. If he was sitting in a more natural 10 position in that second half, we could have dominated more of the ball, created more opportunities, conceded less opportunities, and potentially gone ahead and won the game. But I'm not going to sit on that laurel too much because, hindsight's 2020. What could have been changed in that game could have also massively disrupted our play style and caused us to lose the game. So we take a point at Anfield without any shadow of a doubt, and that goal from Muniz is something to behold, especially from, as you said, Robinson's work rate.
Yeah, there is one thing I do want to point out about the goal, though, that I do find ultimately disappointing. I obviously wasn't at the game on Saturday. None of us were. There is a tremendous amount of people sat in that away end who are not celebrating, considering the fact we just gone 2-1 up away at Anfield. And it hits to this ticketing issue that we've had for ages, especially at big games away, where they tend to open up the general sale way too quickly. I was told by my brother, who was at the game, that there were at least 3 people sat behind him that he was 100% sure were Liverpool fans who had bought tickets off of third-party resellers, and it's not great to see. It doesn't leave a great atmosphere for us as away fans, And as someone who's done, the dog days of going to Wigan away with 249 of us there, but still having fun, I'd rather that than there be 400 home fans sat in the away end, because it's not great, and it's something the club need to look into because. I know from all lot of Fulham fans that were at the game on Saturday that it did really, really get on their nerves because stewards didn't care.
Hasn't the same happened at Chelsea, though? They removed the points, loyalty points. I mean, what's the rationale behind that? I mean,
I don't know.
I just, Ash, this is a whole show in itself.
Yeah.
I appreciate time is short and our subscribers are basically here to talk about the Liverpool game, but we need to. No,
we will hit it up. We will hit it up because
we need to. I think we need to reach out to Fulham fans, get them writing in the comments, find out what they think because it's a whole show in itself.
When was the last time we sold out an Anfield game prior to last weekend?
We do Anfield. We sell out most years.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a genuine question.
Last year.
Anfield we sell out most years because it's one of those away games that people want to go to. The only time it doesn't really sell out is when it's midweek, and that's just because naturally, we always struggle to sell out games midweek because of our demographic of fans, and that is what it is. But let's move on. Let's finish talking about the game. We will come back, and I promise you, everyone who is watching, that we will at some point do an episode on the ticket structure at Fulham because it is frustrating and it's getting a bit ridiculous. But
Go on, AJ.
I was going to say, if you do want to see a special on that and the ticketing structure and not just about us, but how it's impacting the Premier League, do like this video and let us know in the comments.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we then concede another goal in the 86th minute. It's a bit of a typical goal that we concede. It's frustrating from a Fulham point of view. It's a really well taken shot by Jota. Someone being harsh, you say that Leno maybe could have got down to it, but it is what it is.
Leno went the wrong way, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. We walk away with a point after 9 minutes added on for almost nothing at Anfield. Let's finish this video how we always finish this video, guys. I want a couple of good mentions of players that deserve some credit for the game on Saturday and your man of matches, and then we'll move on from there. Mozza, I'm going to start with you, buddy. Can I have your man of the match and a couple of honourable mentions for the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm going to be completely unoriginal and say Jedi Antonee Robinson was my man of the match. I thought he was just a consistent playmaker throughout. Honourable mentions, I've got to say that midfield force of Lukic and Berge, which I would love to see so much more starting together, and one can dream.
Yeah, we'll move on from there. Drew, mate, what about you, mate? A couple of honourable mentions and a man of the match.
Honourable mentions, I've got to go with Cuenca. I mean, he was identified as being a weak link, but he wasn't at all. And I've got to give credit to Silva here because I'm absolutely convinced he was a Silva signing. He can play the ball. He's a ball-playing centre-half, and we know following the purchase of Anderson, which Silva was completely on board with, Silva wants at least one of his centre-backs to be able to play the ball, and Cuenca clearly can. And the good thing about him is that he'll play it forward and along the floor, and he will take out other members, opposition team members. Jedi's man of the match because I just think he was sensational. One thing I do want to mention, Ash, and it came at the end when Traore got through. I did wonder whether, and this is not a criticism, I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but bearing in mind they'd lost their left back, whether we could have brought him on sooner, especially when we were under the cosh in the second half. And I know he couldn't hit. I know if Traore, he's a nightmare when he's got time to think, because when he's got time to think, he couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. But when it's all instinctive, and if he could have done what he did to Manchester City, it might have tilted the field in our favour because he did look lively. But Jedi, Mozza's bang on, absolutely bang on with that. And Cuenca's my honourable mention. And credit to AP because, you know, I understand what AJ's saying about he didn't drop in enough to make the midfield a 5, but he was as effective as we wanted him to be in the circumstances. But
yeah, to be fair to him, that was a tactical decision and what he was clearly instructed to do. That's not me having a go at him in the slightest.
No, AJ, I totally get that. I see where you're coming from, though.
AJ, what about you, mate? Give us a couple of honourable mentions and your man of the match for Saturday.
Honourable mentions. Leno did well. Cuenca was exceptional, and I think is going to give some decision making. Not saying he'll keep Bassi out of the team, but with his ball playing ability that we've now seen for a full 90 minutes, considering how long Anderson might be out and Diop's form, he might fit into games where we're going to have more possession. Especially if we want to rest Bassi at all. The obvious man of the match is Robinson, so I'm not going to really discuss that one. 2 assists, and he absolutely dominated the stats in terms of his defensive performance. Some say he's still struggling to get Mohamed Salah out of his pocket. Who else? Castagna. He did well after coming on for Kenny Tete. I have to give him a nod of credit. It can be quite difficult, especially under the pressure of those Liverpool forwards once Tete leaves the field to be able to fill those boots. And Alex Iwobi essentially setting up both passing situations for Robinson to finalise and get both of the assists. So those would be my shouts for honourable mentions.
It's a weird one. It's one of those games where you go, absolutely everyone in a white shirt on Saturday was solid and they did their job really, really well. AP does deserve a bit of credit because, you know, he's been under fire the last couple of weeks from Fulham fans, especially, you know, after the incident that happened with him and the news. And he's done the one thing that we all said that he needed to do. You know, he needed to do his talking on the pitch. And anyone who's watched him play, you know, the back end of last week against Arsenal and this game will think that he's been absolutely world class for Fulham for the last 2 years and not what we've actually watched for 18 months. But he's been superb on Saturday, and I cannot fault that. You know, the 2 centre midfield pairing, the Lukic and Berger centre midfield thing, considering the fact that we paid 30 million for both of them. could be one of the best,
Yeah.
pairings in the midfield that there is in the Premier League at the moment, considering the value they were. We're not going to do an Arsenal and spend 105 million on, on one midfielder. So to spend 30 million on two of that who have proven to be so good, and they're just getting better and better. And I love the fact that we're still here every single week saying Sander Berge is getting better every single week. I don't think he's quite reached that ceiling of just how good he is for us yet. And I'm really, really enjoying watching it. Cuenca deserves absolutely every bit of credit he will get for Saturday's game, because he's played 2 games for us this year. One was a cup game that didn't really get much to do, and we lost on penalties. And the other one was on the pitch for he's had 2 appearances where he's on the pitch for less than 2 minutes. Just trying to mop up and be a fifth centre back. He was superb on Saturday. He did so well, and his passing range really took me by surprise. I did not see that coming. I should have known it from a player that played as well as he did in Spain. But he was absolutely superb with that. And this idiot was again superb. I think Marco's gonna have a real headache come Sunday, considering who the opposition are on who should actually be that starting centre back pairing.
I'd be quite happy to keep them too.
Yeah, me too. 100%. Me too. I was about to ask you, would you be happy to see that? Because it is what it is, and I love Bassi. I'm a glorified Bassi lover. I love him more than most players. But if he doesn't play on Sunday because these two have earned themselves a game, then no one can complain about it. Lance, thank you very much for joining me. Go on,
I was going to say what I'd really love to see at some point against a game where we're going to be playing a team that are going to sit back and defend against us is Cuenca and Anderson at some point. Because that, with the passing range of the pair of them, Cuenca being able to pass along the floor and take out 2 defenders and the diagonal balls from Anderson, it's just beautiful, beautiful football.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get to see that. Guys, thank you very much for joining me for this Liverpool review. It was way more positive than we were even expecting it to be after our match preview. So, great result by the lads. We'll see that. We'll see everyone later on in the week when we do our Southampton preview, a game that we should all be super positive by, and we probably will be by the time we come to do our preview of the game. But
you think,
considering the fact they've just sacked their manager and on level to beat Derby's records, we all know what's coming. But we'll try and be positive for that. So we'll see you on Friday for that match preview. Other than that, guys, thank you. Come on, you Whites, and we'll see you soon.